Alabama with a monumental win over the Georgia Bulldogs for their 30th SEC championship game. We're going to talk about where this one ranks up as far as maybe the greatest SEC championship game victory for the Crimson Tide. But first, guys, I want to thank you for being here with us on the Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. If you're not part of what we're doing, like and subscribe. Roll Tide, everybody, as Alabama looks for their 19th national championship. All right, with my man Chris Coleman in Tuscaloosa, I'm Mick Gillispie. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. We got to get into this, Chris. These SEC championship games and the meaning of them could change with the college football playoff coming next year. But since 1992, this has been sometimes a harder championship to win than the actual national championship. And for Alabama to knock off Georgia, to end their 29 consecutive game winning streak, back-to-back national champs, avenge that national championship loss from a couple of years ago. It was a special day Saturday in Atlanta.
Absolutely. And yeah, it was they had a 29 game win streak because they didn't play us for 28 games. So they completely avoided us, and so yeah, they were able to go on a good run, and that was nice. I like Najee Harris's comments on it, but it was all right.
It was a great win. Where do you think this one ranks all time of these SEC championship game victories? You know, obviously the one in 92 was special because
I think that has to be first.
Right, and you win that one and you go on and upset Miami for the national championship. I can still see Antonio Langham with the interception, right?
Oh, yeah, and Teague taking the ball away and his interception, pick six. I could all of that, David Palmer's punt returns, like that entire game I could replay probably play-by-play in my mind, because that was definitely a special one in Miami. But so was the SEC championship. And, yeah, what you're talking about, Antonio Langham's pick to take it back. But that whole game there, it was a fight, and Florida had beat us pretty good before that, the year before that. And so it was in Birmingham, at Legion Field. So I think that one has to be ranked number one because that's what changed it. Because if Bama loses that game, the SEC is going to look at not having this SEC championship anymore because it would have taken us out of the national title picture, and it would have hurt the entire conference. What you were talking about has been bigger than the national championship. Absolutely, I think in the second one I would rank would be 2012 when we beat Georgia when they were down to our 5-yard line. And falls down. Time runs out, but we go on and kill Notre Dame down in Miami. Either team, I think, beats Notre Dame. The 09 that getting over that hump of Florida after they had beat us the previous year. I think either us or Florida go and beat Texas. So. Yeah, the SEC championship has been as big, if not bigger, than some of the national title games. This one from this year, I think, has the potential to be in there with those last two that I named, but we've got to finish it and get the national championship before I can put it up there with those that led to national titles.
2009, I thought was still one of the greatest games Alabama ever played. When you talk about that team beating Tim Tebow, to me, I put that one number one. That was the game that
you're putting it over 92.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Florida-Alabama game was 1-2. You're talking about a matchup of the defending champions and then again, eventual the the new champion. It started the Alabama dynasty, whereas 92 was great. And it actually turned out to be a much better game than what we saw in the Sugar Bowl against Miami. But with that said, I feel like the 09 game was one of the most perfect performances that a Nick Saban team had against a Florida team that no one thought could lose.
I agree. I definitely see your points on that. You have a lot of valid points. I also think you're a huge Greg McElroy fan, and you liked him hopping down the sideline, so that probably had something to do with it.
Yeah, and honestly, he really did have a great championship game. What are the other ones? Like, if you ranked them 1, 2, and 3, SEC championship games, where would you put this? Where would you put as 1, 2, and 3? I guess we don't even have to talk about the one that happened.
I'm going to go 92, and then I'm going to go 09, and then I'm going to go 12, beating Georgia before we went on to beat Notre Dame for that national title. I think that Alabama-Georgia, what was it, a four-point game?
Yeah.
They came down to it where we scored. They're driving. They ran out of time. They're on our 5-yard line when that game ends. I think that I would have that one third. Like I say, this one, great game, fun game. I got it right behind it. Now, if we go on and we finish and we handle Michigan and then what I believe will be Texas in that rematch, then, this one has the potential to climb up there. But for right now, it's sitting outside on 4.
Right. So you say a lot of it has to do with how Bama finishes to see where this ranks all time.
Right. Well, because if it's this is Tuscaloosa. If it's not a national championship, then does the SEC championship really mean as much, like in the history of things? I mean, the '99 SEC championship was pretty special to me as a student, and everything. I had a lot of that game. We had already beaten them in the swamp that year, and then we turn around and nobody's really giving us a shot. And Freddie Millens turns the corner on that, and takes it. And so that game was a whole lot of fun. But when we look back on things, because it wasn't a national championship team. I mean, we actually lost that Orange Bowl to Tom Brady. I was missed point after. I was at that one too, down in Miami. But we don't really look at that as one of the big ones, even though that SEC championship was great.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, it was Saturdays was one for the ages, and now the Crimson Tide will take on Michigan in the Rose Bowl, and Alabama, hoping that they can get back to the championship game. What did you think about the field when it was announced?
To say that they got it right, I think is not entirely accurate. I think that they got the pick of Alabama over Florida State correct because of the injury to Jordan Travis. And I hate that. I hate that it's a factor. I hate that it's a 4-team playoffs. I wish that it was 8, or 6 this year. But did they get the 4 best teams in college football? I don't know. I don't think so. But me personally, Florida State, we can hammer their schedule. They played Southern Miss. They played UNA. But what about Michigan's schedule? I mean, who outside of the Ohio State game, who did they play? They just played Iowa in their Big Ten championship game. Yeah, their schedule's pretty weak, pretty soft.
What do you think of the over-under for Iowa? What do you think of the over-under each half for Iowa to score a point? Did you see that?
Yeah, I had the.
They didn't cover a half point.
Iowa's team total over for the game. I had under 7, and the first half was 3.5, and I thought the half point was crazy, so I definitely took the under. And then for the game, at the second half, it was at 6.5, and I went, no. Did you see the place up there, bar that has golf? It wasn't Top Golf, but obviously something similar that did free beer until Iowa scores.
A lot of free beer.
A lot of free beer. And it did have the disclaimer, if the game ends, then the promotion ends.
Right.
But I was like, oh, that's one way to get people to come there to watch the game, I guess.
Yeah.
That it was their draft beer or whatever that was free until the. But I was like, all right, well, I guess you got some other stuff, some food or something you're going to be selling because you're going to be giving away some free beer.
Yeah.
But
no
I don't know. Yeah, I hope you had a big cover charge.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, tell people about the ColeMerica Podcast and what you got going on there.
ColeMerica Podcast. We did okay this past weekend, championship weekend. I went 24-12 on the weekend. I hit some very good ones. I actually gave NFL picks this past week, and I gave 8 of them that I said put in the parlay. And I actually had a couple of guys message me last night because I was 7 for 7 going into the Sunday night game. And they're like, hey, do I hedge this? And yes, you always hedge. You take guaranteed money every time. I hedged, and I'm glad I did because the 8th one in the parlay was Kansas City's money line. And so you know what? I was getting a great hedge because I could put 400 on Green Bay's money line at plus 220. Yeah, so now I'm getting 400 for 820. The parlay that I gave them was $30 to pay out $1,050. And so I'm laying 400 here. I was guaranteed money going into Sunday Night Football, and so was everybody else. So free money. You're welcome.
Yeah, and not a bad time to go to Pearl River Resort and check out the Timeout Sports Lounge and Sportsbook right now at Golden Moon Casino, right?
Absolutely. It's always a good time down at the Golden Moon. They always have the sports books, and I'll tell you, I make some arrogant bets at times, and sometimes they pay out. And me and you talked about this the other day. I'm very proud of the fact that the day after we lost to Texas on that Sunday morning, I got up, and the first thing I did was I took Alabama at plus 2,500 to win the national title. And that's just me being an arrogant Alabama fan. But I knew that's when you're going to get the best odds for Alabama to win the title. And it's all about finding the right odds. As we get into the end of the NFL season, what we want to look at is what type of odds can we get for somebody to win the Super Bowl or win the AFC or NFC. And they don't have to actually win it. They just have to get there.
Right.
And then we can hedge because we have the right odds and guarantee money. Right now with the college football playoffs, you're going to have 4 teams. I promise you're not going to get Alabama at plus 2,500. But we'll take on my next podcast, we'll be taking a look at those odds and what you're looking at as far as matchups and all that type stuff. So, but you've also got NHL going, NBA going, college basketball, Bama hoops tonight. So there's a lot of stuff going right now.
Yeah, go by and say hi to Coleman over at Unique on the Strip, right across from Houndstooth, and tell them Roll Tide. Go in there. You got all the games in there as well. Anything that you want to watch, you got it, right?
Yes, sir. We'll definitely turn it on. Roll Tide, go Cubs. Let's have some fun in here. From soccer to hockey to golf to whatever you want, we got it.
All right. Well, guys, like and subscribe. We're going to keep on following Alabama as they head out to the Rose Bowl. Remember, the Rose Bowl will win there. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up, and thanks for hanging out.